Welcome, employee 882.
Recursion is a first-person immersive sim set in a corporate time loop. Players explore an increasingly surreal office space controlled by a rogue AI, unraveling secrets through environmental storytelling, task loops, and moral ambiguity. Recursion began as a mechanically driven project. I was inspired by immersive sims like Half-Life, Control, and the Stanley Parable, and set out to build interesting tools, physics devices, puzzle systems, experimental mechanics that gave the player freedom. But as I prototyped these early ideas, something felt off. The systems were technically ambitious. There was no real weight to the experience. Shifting focus from features to feeling gave the project direction, clarity, and a purpose beyond just interactivity. Those mechanics were abandoned. I pivoted towards Kafkaesque themes, unseen systems, arbitrary rules, and the quiet dread of being watched. The Liminal Spark was the turning point. I'd built a simple grey box, a few cubicles, some hallways, and as I walked through it, the silence and emptiness created a strange unease. That tension, sterile, mundane, and quietly hostile, said more than any system I'd designed. I stripped everything back. No tools, no puzzles, just that feeling of isolation and routine under surveillance. That's when I realised Recursion was about the mood. Recursion is built on 4 design pillars: diegetic interaction, no HUDs or pop-ups. All feedback is embedded in the world through signs, lights, sound, and physical props. Latent freedom. The player appears free, but is subtly watched. Idling triggers flickers, disobedience distorts the environment. Environmental storytelling. The world doesn't explain itself, leaving it to the player to explore, balancing exploration with the tasks assigned to them by HR. One of the first systems I built was the Interactables system, a modular framework used by all in-world objects, like doors, items, and scanners. At its core, it is an abstract interactable class. Every interactive object inherits from it, allowing for custom logic while staying connected to a unified system. This made the project highly scalable. I could create new prefabs, assign a scriptable reference, and have them behave consistently without rewriting handlers. The room system in Recursion is both a mechanical backbone and an optimization layer. Each room is tracked by a central room manager, which registers props, lights, sounds, and triggers. As the player enters or leaves, the system dynamically toggles elements. This keeps performance tight. Lights and sound emitters only activate when nearby, and it drives gameplay logic. The system is modular and scalable. Adding a new room takes minutes. Just tag it, assign the logic, and it plugs in. The HR system is central to Recursion's atmosphere. Not a visible enemy, but an ambient presence that judges the player quietly. The surveillance system escalates tension when players disobey or idle. Lights flicker, sounds distort. The environment subtly pushes back. This is handled entirely through code. HR monitors behavior and adjusts lighting, audio, and mood dynamically based on room and player state. It creates the illusion that the building itself is watching. Layered into this is the HR voice.
Welcome, employee 750.
The core gameplay loop is fully implemented and reflects both the tone and systemic design of Recursion. Players are assigned tasks, all room-specific and procedurally placed. Navigation is guided through the environmental cues. After completing a task, players can pause in the break room. The system supports multiple playstyles. You can comply, follow tasks and meet expectations, or resist, linger, disobey, and see how the world responds. The first round of playtesting gave me a clear, honest view of how the vertical slice was landing. What worked was that players praised the mood, minimalist aesthetic, and how reactive the world felt, confirming the tone was on target. What didn't? Item clarity was weak. Players could hoard objects and onboarding lacked direction. There also wasn't much distinction between walking and sprinting. I made 4 key changes. Limited item pickup to 1 at a time, reducing clutter and improving focus. Added a diegetic task board. No HUD, just world-embedded guidance. Refined interaction prompts, giving clearer feedback to build player confidence. And added a configurable head bob for sprinting. These small but focused adjustments improved immersion and usability, without compromising the game's core feel. Technically, Recursion was built for modularity and scalability. I used a clean tool stack, Unity for development, Blender for asset work, GitHub for version control, and Jira to manage weekly sprints and bug tracking. Under the hood, the project is structured into modular systems, task management, room control, and context-based audio, which keeps dependencies clean and iteration fast. I also prioritized performance, with ambient lighting and audio playing a huge role. I implemented static assets, GPU instancing, audio pooling, and culling logic. Strict prefab architecture helped maintain stability across builds. The goal wasn't just functionality, it was creating something that runs smoothly, feels reliable, and can scale as the project grows. One of the biggest technical issues I hit was a missed merge. I built a feature on a separate branch, but forgot to merge it into main before testing. I used Git log and the GitHub history to track the issue, resolved the merge manually, and added clearer commit messages moving forward. Another key hurdle was a performance drop during early playtesting. The frame rate tanked whenever the player moved. I initially suspected physics or lighting, but after running Unity's profiler with CPU and GPU breakdowns, I traced the issue to TextMesh Pro. One of its shaders wasn't URP compatible, causing the render pass to break down. Sound was also another issue which caused latency. This needed to be optimized. Preloading audio and using pools for sound emitters put less strain on the CPU. This reinforced the value of profiling early, not just for polish, but for catching hidden problems that can break the experience. I now profile regularly to catch regressions before they scale. From the start, I approached Recursion like a real production. I followed an Agile-inspired workflow, breaking the project into weekly sprints, with milestones for prototyping, polish, and playtesting, all tracked in Jira. GitHub managed version control and branching. It gave me the flexibility to prototype major systems like the Room Manager and HR Voice independently. Working solo gave me full creative control, which sped up iteration and kept decisions cohesive. But without a team, staying motivated was harder. I had to build structure around myself, clear milestones, focused sessions, and visual progress tracking. The process taught me a lot about balancing creativity with discipline. Whether working solo or in a team, these systems are now part of how I build. Looking back, a few clear takeaways stand out. What worked was the power of iteration. Every round of feedback sharpened player clarity. Once I leaned fully into the game's themes, design decisions came more easily. The challenges were constant. Balancing mood and clarity was tough. Scope creep was always lurking, and debugging performance issues ate up more time than expected. Staying motivated as a solo dev was its own battle. There's no external push, just you and the deadline. Technically, I learned 3 core lessons. Git discipline matters, merge often, label clearly, and avoid surprises. Profiling is important. Don't guess, check the data. Iteration is polish. Clarity, feel, and tone all come from tight, repeated refinements. Working on Recursion revealed a lot about my design style. I'm drawn to atmosphere and minimalism. I care more about what a space feels like than what it says. For me, mood comes first, and mechanics serve that mood. I'm most proud of the HR surveillance. There's no monster or chase, just lights, sounds, and passive-aggressive messages building pressure. Moving forward, I plan to launch a dedicated Discord server to start building a community around Recursion. It'll be a space for updates, behind-the-scenes content, and regular playtesting. The goal is to bring reliable testers into the loop, so the game evolves not just through my vision, but through player feedback. On the production side, I'm building a content pipeline, modular props, diegetic documents. The aim is to make the office feel less empty, not just visually, but narratively. Long term, I'm considering early access or a crowdfunding demo to expand development sustainably. If the community supports it, I'd look at bringing in collaborators for assets, writing, or QA. The core loop is in place. Now it's about deepening the experience, expanding the world, and making every cycle feel just a little more meaningful.
Welcome, employee 485. Task assigned. Warning.